Well, good morning and thank you for joining me on this morning just before sunrise, Northern England. We're going to go sweeping chimneys with Mr. David Sudworth of Mr Soot. Come on, let's take a look at how they do it in jolly old England. And I think this is Mr. Soot here. Dave, nice to see you.
Morning.
Yes. So tell us where we're going to go today and what we're going to do.
Well, today we're going to go to Liverpool and we're going to sweep some chimneys. So Liverpool is the home of the Beatles. So we'll actually be going around some of the areas where John Lennon and Paul McCartney grew up.
Wow.
And we're going to sweep some chimneys. I don't know if we'll sweep their old chimneys, but if we do, I'll let you know.
Okay, that's great. Let's go do a ride along. Hey, what's that over there, Dave?
That's an indoor ski slope. What's called the Chill Factor. It's now called Beyond. But yeah, it's a massive ski slope. I imagine it's colder in there than out here, and that's saying something in Manchester, Liverpool.
Well, we just arrived here. Looks like a freestanding wood stove in Liverpool. Let's come in and see how we're setting up. He's got the drop claws already set. And here he is. What do we have, Mr. Dave?
So we have a Portway Arundel, so quite common in the UK. Just checking that there's a draft, and there is. And usually, I'm going to make a fool of myself now, but to see whether they can get the baffle out. Now normally these just drop down. So if I pull it up with my right hand and just lever it with my left hand, there you go.
And that was up there just a minute ago blocking the flue?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, now you can get a brush up there.
I can get a brush, but I'll do a quick torch and mirror check to see the type of deposits there are, and that will determine how I sweep the flue. Lovely.
So you're looking with a mirror and a light. Nice.
Absolutely. Go and get my rods and brushes now.
So what brushes will you be using on this one, do you think?
So it's a trim wall system. I'm going to use an 8-inch manual brush with 12mm rods, which get nice and bendy so you can get around the bends in the chimney. Sweep it manually, see what comes down, and hopefully that should sort the job for us.
What do we have here, Dave?
Well, we're in England, so a cup of tea. There's always time for tea in England.
Oh, thank you.
So just up the top there, I felt it when I was sweeping. I could hear the like ding. I thought I'm at the top, so come outside just to check that it's out, and sure enough, there it is.
Clean as a whistle. You may have thought we were done with the sweeping operation, but they always do a smoke test at the end. There's a name for it. What's it called?
It's called a Type 2 smoke test.
A Type 2 smoke test.
So it basically checks the draw of the chimney. You put an appropriate size pellet in, light it, and you then check the appliance to make sure that it's working as you'd expect, and then you go outside and check what's coming out the top. If it's multiple chimneys, you want to check that it's not going into adjacent chimneys. Essentially, the smoke could go from A to B without any variation.
So he's warming the flue right now to simulate an actual experience of the customer lighting a fire.
So because I can't feel any heat coming up on my face, I know that this chimney's drawing well, so I should be able to light it now. Wish me luck.
Luck. Around looking for smoke leakage. Oh, by the way, guys, this is a 5-inch outlet on this small wood stove, and this is a 5-inch chimney. I was deceived at first. I saw the funnel. I thought this was connector pipe and it was going 5 to 7, but it's not. It is a 5-inch chimney system, not connector pipe. So the inner diameter of this is 5. The flue outlet diameter is 5. So everything's the same diameter going up and out. Is the smoke coming out the right spot, Dave?
There's a couple of jackdaws by the looks of it there.
A couple of jackdaws. It looks like we got smoke coming out. I think we got a winner. So was that a pretty typical experience there? Did we see anything unusual today?
Fairly standard installation. Nice customer.
Very nice customer. We both got tea.
Byron got a £10 tip.
Yeah, how about that? My first £10.
Which of course he's now has to do every year, otherwise I'll get very offended. But no, standard installation, twin wall system, portway Arundel stove, which is very common in this area. It burns well. Carbon monoxide alarm's in the right place. The ventilation's fine as well. So in essence, all good for another 12 months.
Okay, on to the next one. This is a typical Liverpool residential street.
Yeah, lots of terraced houses.
Terraced houses.
All in a straight line.
And we're gonna do chimney number 2. Now we're on the inside. It's a recently painted, renovated room. The owner just indicated she moved here from Northern Ireland not long ago, offered us tea. We said no because we just had tea. And now let's look at the fireplace. So this in England is called a builder's opening. This overall structure is about 7.5 feet wide. The opening is about 3 feet by 3.5 feet tall. This is not meant to have an open style fire in here. It's got tile, the decorative tile out to the wood floor here, but they would have that, like in the US we call it a Chicago coal grate. It would fit in here and it would just be lightly finished off here. So this is not meant to experience direct flame heat. These are non-rated bricks. You would actually have a firebox in front. Let's take a look up and see how they block their flue. Look, she said there was something up here to keep draft out. There it is. Let's take a look. Ah, very clever, very funny. This has a tag. It's called a chimney sheep. And on the back it says, "Don't you forget me." Very clever. Let's look up inside. This is an unparged 9 by 3 by 3 brick pattern. And it goes up to a shaft that goes all the way to the roof. A 9 by 9 brick opening. How they constructed chimneys for hundreds of years here in England, in the north and the south. And in 1966, and only in 1966, did they say you have to start doing clay flue tiles. So this is our house that we're working on. We're sweeping the chimney here with the antenna. It looks like there's some little Type B gas vent caps that have been put up there. With the high moisture here in the UK, rain almost every day. It's been raining on us this morning and then stopping, and it'll probably rain again this afternoon. There's just so much moisture in the air and literally falling from the sky. They don't tend to solidly seal off unused flues. They let them vent just a little bit of air, which helps take that moisture out of the residence and allow it to evacuate. All right, so the rod is through here. Our brush is ready to go.
So you've got to twist clockwise
to get it to train it.
Otherwise
This is my rod.
Otherwise it'll come undone.
Okay. Good. Ooh, that's a lot more stiff than I thought. Whoa. Wow. All right, we're at the third house today, Dave. What are we doing?
So the notes on the job are that the chimney's potentially leaking, so we're going to sweep and inspect the chimney and see what's occurring. It's an older property, they are in this area, so if it is leaking it won't be surprising, but we'll have a look and see what we find.
Okay. We just completed our initial inspection of the inside, just visually, and we'll go inside and take a look. But just so you know, before we go inside, up here, this is our chimney, and one of the pots is tilted and leaning. Let's take a look right now. Hopefully you can tell, looking at the left corner closest to us and going in one flue tile, it's tilted over, and we're thinking that's causing a smoking transfer issue between the flues of the chimney. Now over here in the UK, they use a lot of different words. Instead of a crown or a wash, they call that a flaunching. Instead of a wythe in the US, they call it a mid-feathers. What are we looking at, Dave?
Looking at the brush right on top of the chimney stacks protruding through. How many rods do you think that is?
I think it's 28 feet.
28 feet. Well, it's 10 rods and it's 4 foot each. 40 feet.
40 feet. Oh, I would have been too short on my rod selection.
Okay, so we can see here there's bottom of the pot, you can see daylight on the outside of the pot, which means that that pot isn't secured properly as we expected. Just going up a little bit if you can. It looks like there's a gap in the mid feathers there.
You've got a gap in your mid feathers.
Yeah.
What was the customer mentioning when we first got here about his concern?
About smoke.
About smoke.
And coming into the adjacent fireplace.
When they use this one.
Correct, yeah.
All right, so that triggered a camera inspection by your home office.
Yes, exactly.
And then here we are doing a camera inspection. We would do that in the US as well. And it's looking like we've got a broken wythe, or as they say, a gap in the mid feathers here.
Yeah, which is quite common because it's an old property.
It's an older property, quite common.
And that's about 40 feet up.
40 feet up. Well, you could only see that with a camera, so
exactly.
Well done.
So we've now got to the end of the inspection. We've noticed some gaps in the mid feathers, and now I'm going to do a type 2 smoke test. But I'm going to use 2 pellets. You normally only use 1, but I'm going to use 2 to see when you put excessive smoke into the chimney what's happening. It's kind of simulating a type 1 test, but it's not. I think this is a fairer test because chimneys work under natural draft, so we're testing it under natural draft, and it will expose any gaps that may or may not be there. And it's also a cloudy day, so smoke can be quite difficult to see from afar, especially 40 feet away. So I'm going to put 2 pellets in, and we're going to see what happens, and whether the smoke is coming out of just 1 chimney pot, or 2, or 3, or 4.
Well, it does seem to be drafting naturally. And now we got a good side view here.
Let's look outside.
And am I correct, Dave, in assuming that that smoke seems to be coming out around the general area of the second flue, not necessarily just the second flue?
Correct.
Yeah, it's generally, it's hard to see in the video with the white sky, but that's not good. So it's confirming that transfer of smoke through the mid feathers. What is a type 1 and a type 2 smoke test in the UK? Behind me is a type 2 smoke test. This is what you do at the end of every single chimney sweep in the UK for any fireplace that's intended to be used. A smoke 1 test is a more aggressive test where you put a foam block at the top, a foam block at the bottom, and you put a smoke bomb in the middle, and it literally creates pressure. Each one of these smoke pellets produces 24 cubic feet of smoke. So a quick mental calculation, we'll say a 30-foot chimney should probably have at least 2 of these if it's a 9x9 interior flue, because we want to create pressure in a type 1 test. Behind me is just a type 2 test in the grate and in an open style fireplace here in the north of England. So that's just a little bit about what smoke tests are here in the UK, and I think we should do it in the US as well to test our proper operation of our solid fuel appliances, both the closed door style that we have in the US, like a wood burning insert or a freestanding wood stove, or an open style masonry fireplace. Cheers. Well, thanks for joining us on today's video about sweeping chimneys here up in Liverpool, England. We're all done for the day. We wrapped up. We had 3 jobs. It's 12 noon sharp. Thanks, Dave, for letting us join you.
No problem. Anytime. Come again.
Cheers. Well, if you enjoyed this video and found it useful, I hope you will like and subscribe and feed the Google monster for me, and we'll see you on the next one.